Okay, hello every pony. And my name is Storm Luna. Well, that's my pony name anyway. And this is my very first live stream on YouTube. So if I'm a bit nervous or uh, stutter or anything, please understand that. Anyway, I'm going to start by I'm going to start out this whole live stream by, well, actually, what I'm going to do is various things on these live streams. Some I might go over an episode, some I might just discuss random characters, and with some I might actually bring out my plushies and you can meet them. And also, if you see me talking with my hands, don't mind me. I just do that sometimes. Anyway, also another thing, when I do these episodes, I'm not going to do them in chronological order as they showed up in the series because, well, A, that makes sense, and B, what fun is there in making sense? Plus, I might be in the mood to uh, listen to other, just do it in random, which is probably going to be the case. Or as with today, I'm going to do one for winter wrap up. And well, one thing I'd noticed about Winter Wrap Up is in the very beginning of the episode. You have Twilight, of course, she's excited to get up, clean up, and help clean up Winter the Earth the only way. Of course, Spike doesn't want to have anything to do with it. He just wants to sleep, wonders why they don't cleanse Winter with magic like they do in Canterlot, which is kind of my thing is like, why do the ponies have to rely on magic or Earth pony uh, ways to clean Winter in the first place? Why don't they just do it like it is in Everfree Forest and it operates normally? Anyway, when Twilight first gets out of her house, the Golden Oaks Library, one thing you notice is that there is not a trace of snow on the ground. There's no icicles or anything. It looks just like it does on any other given day. But then a few hours later, when Twilight gets up and heads toward the town hall, the um, whole town of Ponyville is covered in snow. It almost makes you wonder, did the Pegasi do this solely to inconvenience other ponies? Um, kind of just so they'll have to do this, take a whole day to clean up Winter when there was no Winter, because in other episodes we've seen, like for instance, Hearts and Hooves Day, which takes place in February, which would normally be winter. It is perfectly sunny, spring-like, all that fun stuff. And anyway, then all of a sudden, when they do their meeting, one thing I notice is that there's the mayor up there, telling every pony, oh, we need to get this done. But the mayor herself, she does nothing, absolutely nothing. She just goes and hides back out in her office and avoids this duty. It's kind of like, oh, geez. And then, of course, then we're moving on. We have Twilight wondering which kind of vest she's going to get, whether it be for the Earth team, the weather team, the animal team, or the plant team. Well, she didn't get any because, well, this is her first winter wrap up in Ponyville. But of course, one thing that I'm sure all of us remember about this episode is the song Winter Wrap Up, one of the most classic songs in a whole series. And probably one of my favorites, obviously. And then one thing I can't help but notice about the animal team, there are a whole lot of unicorns in the animal team, even ones that, as far as I know, live in Canterlot. You have Minuet, you have Twinkleshine, you have Lemon Hearts, all of who went to Celestia's school, and of course, as later on in the show, we obviously learn those three live in Canterlot. So it's kind of like, why were they in Ponyville helping with their winter wrap up? Well, maybe it's just something that writers were like, oh, we need so many ponies to do this, and we'll just have those three helping out. And anyway, first off, you have Rarity making the bird's nest. And that is one thing, like, seriously, okay, first off, the birds are lazy as hell. They don't make, they can't make their own nests. Ponies have to do it for them. Then also, you have just one pony making the bird's nest. And it's like, that makes no sense at all. And Twilight tries making one, Hers looks practical, but it's not fancy, and Rarity thinks it's the worst thing in the world, and of course Spike agrees just because, well, it is Rarity. That he thinks Rarity's way of doing everything is perfect. And anyway, Twilight gets ostracized over her nest not being all fancy and stuff. But anyway, then ultimately Rarity decides she has to fix it instead of starting to work on a new one. And of course, as we see later on in the show, she is still working on trying to fix Twilight's nest instead of starting a new one. It's like, oh, come on, Rarity, come on, you know? And then also next we move on to Pinkie Pie scoring the lakes. Seriously, one pony scoring the lakes. And there's a lot of lakes in Ponyville. Well, in this episode anyway. I don't see them in the other episodes. And there she is also acting more like a figure skater for some of her scoring. So she is not really doing much of any kind of job there. She's just out having fun. And of course, poor Twilight, she can't stand on skates to save her soul. Well, I kind of know how she feels because I can't do that either. So forget me ever playing hockey. And anyway, um, ultimately, Twilight realizes, oh, she can't do this. Pinkie says, oh, maybe you should do something that keeps your hooves on the ground. So she moves on to helping Fluttershy wake up animals. Well, of course, also another thing that kind of makes me wonder, really? The animals can't even wake themselves up? It's like, what if there were no ponies there to wake them up? Would they just starve to death in an eternal hibernation? Well, of course, I'm probably one of those people that thinks way too in depth on certain things. And it's kind of like, why do they do this? Why do they do that? Things that those of us who don't just take things as they go might be thinking. And of course, poor Twilight, she ends up being scared of snakes and she winds up waking up bees, bats. Then she gets sprayed by skunks. Poor Twilight. And with that comes the ritual of the tomato juice bath. Luckily, I've never been sprayed by skunks, so I don't know what that's like, but I have heard that the only thing to get rid of that skunk smell is tomato juice. And that has to be kind of one of those, oh, please don't let that ever happen to me moments. And of course, Spike suggests using magic while she's taking her tomato juice bath. And Twilight at first is like, no, no, no. I'm going to find a way to do this even if it kills me. Well, then she does to help Applejack. She can't push the plow to plow the snow. And it's like, come on, Twi, you're a lot smaller than these unicorn Earth Pony stallions that are doing this. So then she decides, oh, I'll cast a come to life spell. And this is one thing where it proves it. In season 1, Twilight still doesn't have full control of her magic because, well, she casts the come to life spell on the plow, but it just keeps on getting worse and worse until she finally crashes into a hill and causes an avalanche. Well, after getting Applejack and Spike into a huge snowball. Of course, Applejack yells at her, and then she winds up running off, and then she declares herself as a winter mess up. And it's kind of like, well, Twi, this is your first winter wrap up, so it's something you're just not used to. And anyway, where am I going from here? Anyway, all of a sudden, the mayor comes out and is very displeased over the fact that there's still a lot of clouds in the sky, there's snow all over the place, and then she says, oh, we're going to be late. Then all of a sudden, Twilight is all of a sudden freaking out. Well, no, I wouldn't say freaking out over it, but she is very concerned, and because tardiness is one thing she doesn't like. Of course, also, then she decides, oh, well, I'm going to help organize this, and that was actually the right thing for Twilight to do, because organizing is kind of her thing, and anyway, in the end, she winds up coming up with all sorts of good ways for him to do it, ringing multiple bells to wake up the animals, planting, getting the plowing going better. Then, of course, overnight Spike is planting the seeds, and multiple ponies there to score the lakes instead of just Pinkie Pie. Then that's another thing where I notice Minuet's on 2 teams. She's on the weather team because she helps score the lakes, and she's on the animal team, which is kind of like, oh, geez, is there 2 of her, or is there just a matter of, okay, she's multitasking? And anyway, ultimately, spring arrives on time, and Twilight gets the test of the vest of All Team Organizer. And in the end, she reports to Princess Celestia that it was one of the most special events she'd ever taken part in there in Ponyville. Of course, this was early on. Ultimately, she'd have much bigger events that she took part in. But anyway, of course, Spike gets sick in the end because he was sat on that one last block of ice and then melted. But anyway, I'd say Winter Wrap Up is one of the much better episodes of the series. I'd probably give it like a 9.5 out of 10. And probably one of the best episodes of season 1 as well. Anyway, I hope I had the volume set on this high enough. And anyway, all of you have a good day. And I'm hoping I can do this every so often. And I'm also planning on sharing this on my pony group on Facebook. My Little Pony Friendship is Fun. So if you decide you want to watch me, actually, I don't know how you get the comments to come on here, or if anyone's even watching yet. Well, yeah, I don't have very many subscribers, only 2, so probably not. Anyway, if you want to subscribe and see more of this, just subscribe and you'll get to see more of this. All of you have a good day. Bye.